Welcome into the latest edition of CityCast, where I take a look back at the week's news from Japan from this foreigner's perspective. And just remember, whilst the news is all real, the opinions are just my own, so feel free to leave yours in the comments below. This week, Environment Minister Koizumi announces paternity leave plans. Macron tells Abe treatment of Ghosn unsatisfactory. New Tokyo Hostel hopes chat app will get guests communicating. $86 million facelift for Dinosaur Museum in Fukui. King Kaz, still world's oldest soccer pro. On Wednesday, Japanese Environment Minister Shinjiro Koizumi said that he plans to take 2 weeks of paternity leave following the birth of his first child, which is expected later this month. In a rare move for a cabinet member, Koizumi, who's become something of a pin-up poster child for Japanese politics, has said that he plans to take 2 weeks within the first 3 months of his child being born, and he plans to use telecommuting, working shorter hours, and getting his subordinates to take up some of the slack in order to help him do this. Now, Koizumi expressed this hope to, and I quote here, create an environment in which fathers in the Environment Ministry can also take childcare leave without hesitation. Now, it seems to me here that hesitation is the key word. According to government data for fiscal 2018, the rate of men taking childcare leave was 6.16% compared to 82.2% for women. The government hopes to raise this rate of taking childcare leave up to 13% in the public and private sectors this year. But still, we come back to this sense of hesitation. Now, according to a 2019 UNICEF report on how family-friendly rich countries in the world are, Japanese men who said that they didn't want to take childcare leave cited reasons such as understaffing, unfavourable atmosphere, workload, pay loss, and career impediment as reasons as to why they were reluctant to take their entitled childcare leave. It's hoped that having somebody as high profile as Koizumi saying that he's going to take his paternity leave will make it easier for others to do likewise. But still, that sense of hesitation, it is a key point when it comes to taking any kind of leave here in Japan. In recent years, we've seen reports related to Japan's culture of overwork, where we learned that Japanese workers are using only about half of their entitled paid leave. And it's gotten to the point where even the government has had to step in 2019, introducing legislation to tackle this culture of overwork, capping overtime hours, and getting employers to ensure that their staff use at least 5 days of their entitled paid leave. Now, personally, in my current job, it's actually quite easy for me to take paid leave. I just stick it onto the shared calendar a couple of months in advance, hope that somebody notices, and if they don't, I just don't show up on that day anyway. But it still comes with this sense of guilt. And I don't know if this is just a Japanese thing now, because I've been in the country for quite a long time. But I still feel this sense of guilt when I take a holiday and I know that my colleagues are in the office working away. And it kind of just takes the edge off my holiday experience. So how about you guys? How easy is it for you to take your entitled paid leave here in Japan? Does it make you feel guilty? Do you have problems communicating this with the boss? Let us know in the comments below. Next up, French President Emmanuel Macron revealed Wednesday that he repeatedly told Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe that he considered the treatment of former Nissan chairman Carlos Ghosn after his arrest to be unsatisfactory. Ghosn was arrested in 2018 for alleged financial misconduct while in charge of Nissan. Now, following his arrest in November 2018, prolonged periods of detention and restricted access to lawyers and members of his family have led to Japan receiving international criticism over their treatment and handling of the Ghosn situation. Ghosn's former lawyer also revealed that the former Nissan boss was questioned for an average, or interrogated for an average of 7 hours per day whilst he was in detention, with the questioning continuing through the weekends, thanks holiday, and Christmas. Okay, so we all know by now that Ghosn has since skipped bail and fled to Lebanon. And personally, you know, it's hard to kind of work up sympathy for heads of industry, big business types that are involved in kind of financial allegations, financial tinkering. But I think personally, Japan is not really doing itself any favors here if it wants to kind of garner sympathy, if it wants to garner support for its cause in tackling and taking on the alleged financial misconduct by a head of industry like Ghosn. And it also brings to light, if it needed bringing to light anymore, the kind of, let's say, the strict conditions regarding detention in Japan, regarding arrests in Japan. I think, like for many foreigners living in Japan, they perhaps have some understanding that the Japanese authorities, the Japanese police, are given quite, well, comparatively, shall we say, strong powers to detain people for questioning without issuing any arrests or indictments. So we wanted to know here on CityCast, how did you feel about this? Being a foreigner, living in Japan, do you feel any sense of like threat, any sense of uncomfort in regards to the powers that police have in this country? Probably you've seen images by now of foreigners kept in immigration detention centres for whatever reason, overstaying their visa, issues like this. And sometimes we've seen images of what appears to be robust handling of these people who are in detention in such centres like this. How do you feel about this kind of thing? Are you fed up of news of Carlos Ghosn? Do you have sympathy for Carlos Ghosn? Would you be excited to see the movie that might be coming out about him? Let us know in the comments below. In lighter news, our new hostel opening in Tokyo's Ueno district next week is hoping that the use of a multilingual real-time translation app will get guests communicating. The Q Stay and Lounge, which opens on January 20th, will become the first accommodation facility in Japan to create chances for guests and customers to communicate in different languages, courtesy of the Kotozna Group Chat smartphone app. So for those of you that have never heard of the Kotozna Group Chat smartphone app, it launched in February 2019 and allows texting to a preset group in your own language, resulting in recipients reading the messages in their own language. And according to the maker, Kotozna Inc., this comes on the back of a 2016 Japan Tourism Agency survey where respondents cited inability to communicate with local staff as their main gripe about travel in Japan. Kotozna Inc. estimates that it will have 5 million users worldwide by 2020. So, how do you feel about this, guys? Back in the day when I was a backpacker, you used to turn up at youth hostels with your big backpack, head to the communal area, get some food, drink some beers, and the communication flowed that way. Is it really necessary to have an app in order to help guests at a youth hostel communicate with one another? And in fact, I'm kind of struggling to see how that would play out. And we all just kind of sit around a table and text each other and then kind of react to those texts in our own language. Are these kind of apps actually, rather than enabling communication, are they actually kind of doing it a disservice in the long term? Instead of encouraging us to learn new languages, to try and get to grips with new languages, to have the confidence to communicate kind of face to face, are we hiding once more behind our smartphones? Anyway, just looking at the homepage of Q Stay and Lounge, it certainly looks like a cool place to stay. Beds in a mixed dorm, which kind of resembles like a capsule hotel style vibe. According to the website, they start from 7,000 yen per night, and works by young artists, including students from Tokyo University of Arts, will be displayed in the hostel. There'll be exhibitions, workshops, live painting sessions. It sounds like it's all going to be going on over there at Q Stay and Lounge, and that opens on January 20th, which I believe is Monday. Check it out if you're in the area. Okay, if you know anything about Japan's Fukui Prefecture, you might know that it has the country's largest dinosaur museum. In fact, the Fukui Prefectural Dinosaur Museum is reportedly one of the top dinosaur museums in the world. Well, this museum is set for an $86 million facelift to be completed in 2023. The facility currently displays around 41,000 items across 15,000 square meters of floor space. Once these renovations are complete, that will give museum curators an extra 5,700 square meters of floor space to play with. Now, the renovations are expected to be complete in the summer of 2023, and this will come on the back of the completed extension to the Hokuriku Shinkansen line in spring the same year, all the way to Fukui. Now, currently, the Hokuriku Shinkansen runs from Tokyo through Nagano, and I think it ends somewhere in Kanazawa. Well, as of spring 2023, that's going to go all the way to Fukui. And so the authorities over there are expecting an influx of visitors. And it looks like they're dressing up the museum in preparation for this. Now, according to the local government, the annual number of Dinosaur Museum visitors will hit 1.4 million after the renovation is completed. The current record stands at 938,000, which was set the year ended March 2019. And just as a little stat for you, more than 80% of dinosaur fossils dug up in Japan are dug up in Fukui Prefecture. Now, we reported on City Cost a few weeks ago that the Japanese government was introducing a new law which would enable them to provide subsidies for various areas across Japan to improve access and facilities at local attractions, as the Japanese government tries to get tourists out of the marquee attractions in the big cities and into more rural areas, as it looks to reach a target of 60 million visitors sometime in the future. The government is going to select 25 areas at which to target these new funds. So what we want to ask you here on City Cost is which areas of Japan, which rural, lesser visited areas of Japan are people missing out on? Which areas do you think could use some of this financial support from the government to help draw tourists to them? Let us know in the comments. Finally, it looks like a big congratulations should go out to Japanese soccer star Kazuyoshi Miura, who remains the world's oldest soccer professional after it was announced on Saturday that his club Yokohama FC have renewed his contract. Miura, who turns 53 in February, will start the upcoming season in the J-League for the first time since 2007 after Yokohama FC got promoted at the back end of last season. If Miura, also known as King Kazu, does see some playing time in the upcoming season, and let's remember he only played 3 games last season, it could see him come up against another veteran soccer star in the form of former Barcelona playmaker Andres Iniesta, when Yokohama FC go up against Iniesta's Vissel Kobe in the opening game of the season on February 23rd. Anyway, congratulations once again to King Kazu, still going at nearly 53. Pretty good stuff if you ask me. Okay, if you've seen anything in the news from Japan this week that's caught your attention, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.